What is up, guys? I've never made a Minecraft video before. I've never actually made a video at all for that matter. I don't know why I'm making a Minecraft video, but I just was like, I'm gonna make a Minecraft video. I don't even have a YouTube channel as I'm speaking right now. I don't know if this is gonna go on the internet or if I'm gonna listen back to this and be like, holy crap, this is lame. But I figured, never made a Minecraft video before, never made a YouTube video before. Why not do some hardcore? This is hardcore. Yeah, so we're going to play some hardcore Minecraft today, folks. And I'm doing this in my dorm room on my hand-me-down headset, on my hand-me-down laptop, in a dorm at Texas A&M. So, it might be noisy, and the audio might be chopped, and the visuals might be chopped. But Christ is king, you know, regardless of that. And I'm just kind of stimming while I talk by pressing all these things. Alright, world type, default, yeah. Game rules, I don't know about that. Hardcore Minecraft. Well, let's just create this world. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm guessing this is going to be unedited, because I have no idea how to edit a video. Oh, I don't like this spawn, but that's fine. Oh, I forgot I had map on. Let's turn map off. Yeah, let's turn map off. Yeah, so I don't even know what I was saying. I already forgot what I was saying. But, oh yeah, I remember. Something about how I'm not going to be editing these. I want this just to be like raw footage. Talk about what I talk about. You know, I was thinking today I should like start journaling. My thoughts about the world. What's going on. Thoughts about Jesus. Thoughts about the Bible. Thoughts about Minecraft. Thoughts about politics. Thoughts about movies. Just whatever I'm thinking about. And instead of journaling it, talk about it while I play Minecraft, because maybe there's somebody who just has a lot to think about and likes watching Minecraft, and boom, I can yap while playing Minecraft, and you can just sit down, turn this on in the background. I was trying to figure out how to get a camera on, but I hate the sound of my voice and hate what I look like, so I figured it's a big step just recording my voice. And you know, smash that like button, 700 billion likes, and I'll do a face reveal, and we'll do a little, put me up in the corner there. But it's really, I've played a lot of Minecraft. I'm not like a noob at Minecraft. I've never played hardcore, but I grew up playing Minecraft with my brothers, and even going to college, our Bible study plays a lot of like Minecraft worlds and stuff. But I have never really multitasked like this. I'm trying to hold a conversation with a person who's not even there, which is kind of weird. I don't usually talk to myself, but I guess I'm talking to whoever's listening, even if that's 5 of you. Yeah, so I might do some goofy stuff, like just jump around randomly, or I might forget to chop down a tree completely, and I don't know. Also, it's probably not a good idea to be doing hardcore if I'm not really locked in. Because I've never done a hardcore world, and I could die and lose everything. So I think we definitely want a bed. We definitely want a bed here. I'm sorry, sacrificial lamb. Yeah, definitely want to get a bed, place to live, some food, armor. Definitely need some iron armor and a shield and stuff. But I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you know who I am. Don't go spoiling it, you know. I don't even have a name for this series yet. I don't have a name for a channel if I post this. This was so on the fly. You know. This had like very little forethought into it. I've been saying for a long time that I want to like do a podcast or record something and put it on the internet. I've been leading Bible study for the last about 4 years. I've always been involved in like youth group, and people have always told me I've had good things to say, and I've just never really pushed through and actually tried sitting down recording something. I just recently started recording Bible studies, but even in that, it's just they kind of sit in my computer, and if somebody's like, "Oh, I missed Bible study," then I'll send them a recording, but it's not like any of that's on the internet. So we're we're entering new territory here today. What are my frames at? 68. Also, Satoru Gojo is not Gojover, in fact, folks. But yeah, I just figured those of you listening probably know who I am. I can't imagine that I'm reaching a new audience. So a lot of you guys already know the deal with Minecraft. I'm not really going to explain the game and what I'm doing. You know, you can just watch what I'm doing and listen to what I'm saying, or you can tune out what I'm saying and watch what I'm doing, whatever you guys want. But a lot of what I'm doing is self-explanatory at this point. But I do want to find a firm foundation for this house. And also, I have no idea what this thing is sound like. I noticed that I fluctuate a lot in my voice. Like sometimes I talk quiet and then I get loud, and that serves me well in Bible study. But in a little microphone, I don't know if this is going to just be atrocious to listen back at. Maybe the quiet parts are too quiet and the loud parts are too loud. I have no idea. I did a couple of audio testers where I was just like saying a bunch of random nonsense and like I'm just running around in circles. Oh my goodness, I need to craft some stuff. Yeah, so I have no idea how this is going to sound. Maybe I'm the only person who's ever going to hear this. Maybe I'm the only person who's ever going to hear this recording and it never sees the light of day. That would be hilarious. Or maybe it will see the light of day and this will be really awkward that I'm just talking about all this stuff. But as you can see there, that was like the slowest axe and pickaxe crafting of all time. I'm just shuffling things around in my inventory. I have no idea how to hold a conversation while playing Minecraft. But we're going to learn together. All right, folks. The frames seem really rough, so let's see how that transfers into the recording. This poor little MacBook, it's probably putting a lot of strain on it. But so let's see objectives. I definitely want a bed. Stone Age. I definitely want a bed. Like an overnight shelter, like even if it's literally this hole I'm digging in right now is where we stay. We got some mutton, so we have enough food for the night. Don't really want to, as the song, oh, there's some iron right there. As the song says, I don't really want to mine at night. Oh, hey there, buddy. I grew up on Bedrock. I've been playing Java for a while now. Last couple years, being in college, playing with my friends, and they're like, "You can't play on Bedrock, man." So I'm like not proficient at Minecraft at all. The reason I'm playing Minecraft is because I love to play it, and people like to watch it. And I'm sure in the comments people tell me things I'm doing wrong, and I would love to learn. Um, I think what inspired me to do Minecraft and yap while I play Minecraft as opposed to just record me doing a monologue or record me doing a Bible study is that I have no expectation or plan for what's going to make of this. Saw a dope Ryan Trahan video today where he just talked about his testimony playing Minecraft, and it wasn't super polished, and I was just like, dude, that's incredible. We're so polished. We're so prepared. We have a plan for everything nowadays. We have a 5-year plan. We have budgeting is responsible. Please budget, and please have a idea of what you want for your future. But also it's like the greatest message ever sent to this earth was the gospel. And Jesus sent his best friends with, not much money, without any talking points. He just said, wherever you go, I'll be with you. And when you stand before the courts, just speak, and my Holy Spirit will inspire you. So maybe that's me trying to do that and be faithful to that by playing Minecraft as opposed to standing before the government that killed Jesus as they kill me and all my friends. Just a little bit different, It's really hard to compare our experiences to the early church, of course, because America, America moment. But yeah, so there's kind of two aspects of it. Why I'm playing Minecraft specifically, I literally saw a Ryan Trahan video. I'm like, that's dope. Just playing Minecraft, unedited, unscripted. You just whatever your thoughts come out, you just talk about what you're thinking about. Um, that's the Minecraft side of it, and then the other side of it is just like journaling. Like I've been meaning to start journaling my thoughts. Um, I lead a Bible study, like I was saying, and with the nature of Bible study, you just want to think biblically about everything. You want to teach the text. You don't want to bring your own stuff into the text. If the reading about Jesus being the true vine, you better exegete that. Talk about the beautiful truth of that passage rather than, well, guys, right now I really feel like talking about politics and I'm going to fit my agenda into the scriptures. So, this is kind of a free form ability to just put my thoughts out there on the internet. And I know we just met, but probably gonna hear some pretty radical thoughts as far as this world goes. A little bit about me is my whole life I've been a Bible believing Christian. My parents modeled for me just love and service and truth. And my two most absolute values in my life are love and truth. I want to love everyone. I want to be truthful. And you can't divorce the two. This is really a nice spot. You can't really divorce truth and love. For me, I've always erred on the side of truth rather than love. I think a lot of Christians, especially my friends in Bible study, would maybe say, I have a hard time with just like going straight to the point and being brutally honest. Like, I tend to just err on the side of love, not really correct, not really speak out. And I'm kind of on the opposite side of that, where, of course, I want to be courteous of other people's feelings and emotions, but I'm pretty blunt. Ask any of my friends, I'm pretty blunt. Ask my family, ask my fiance. I don't really mince words. So, and that being said, I want to edify God in all that I say. I want to bless Him with this and speak truth. And in my pursuit of that, I might talk about how corrupt our nation is and how wicked sin is and things that our culture is not allowed to call sin. I'll call it out as sin. Call out things in my own life that most people are like, no, that's fine. You do you, man. Live your life, YOLO. And I'm like, no, this is something within me that I must change, I'm just running all over the place, but I'm pretty safe. So, I mean, if the only objective of hardcore is not to die, then I'm succeeding in that. I'm kind of going to block this off, though, probably. Yeah. I should make a shovel, I know. Punching dirt with my hands, that's pretty cringe. But I don't feel like making a shovel right now, to be honest. Also, I watch hours of podcasts a week. I love long form content. If nobody wants to just sit down and listen to Minecraft for 4 hours, like maybe I will edit it. Who knows? Maybe I won't edit it. And like I was saying earlier, this is a one and done kind of thing. I'll never do it again. If I come back after playing and talking for an hour and I'm like, oh man, my audio is totally terrible, then maybe I'll try it again, or maybe I'll just take that as a sign as it's not time. It's not yet time to be an internet presence. So yeah, Minecraft is because I love Minecraft. I've seen a lot of people glorify God playing Minecraft. Redeem Zoomer does some cool Kingdom Craft stuff. Saw Ryan Trahan's video. So I think that's, whoa, hey there, Endy Man. This is gonna get dangerous, but let's try this out. Those of you with OCD, I apologize for what I'm doing right now, but I want ender pearls. So look at me, guy. Look at me, bro. This is going to be so sketchy. Guys, I'm risking it all right here. this might be just like the only video of this series because I'm about to die. I didn't even like make armor. I could at least made armor. Speaking of which, let's just go make armor. Why not? Why not? I'm gonna make some armor, and then that guy's gonna teleport away or despawn or something. But I cannot get a single point out because I am just going all over the place because I'm nervous. And then yeah, man, 22-year-old dude who's grown up loving the Bible, loving God, loving others. I'm an American. I love America. God bless America. Um, it's crazy times we live in. You know, Easter Sunday. A lot of us woke up getting ready for church. The most important day of the year to the Christian faith. Does any of the president tweet something utterly ridiculous and crazy? You know, a president I voted for, by the way, and here I'm just making good on my promise that I'm just honest. You know, I just share my thoughts. I think more people want that transparency. So yeah, like I voted for Trump. I'm not a fan of the Democrat Party. I am no longer a fan of the Republican Party. I am just, you know, about to withdraw from politics completely and just say Christ is king. But I voted for Trump just because I'm like, you know, the Democrats and their agenda is just absurd, and this is dangerous. Oh, I'm dead. Well, good game, guys. It was nice knowing ya. It was really nice while the series was around. I'm just gonna. Oh, well, guys, that is the end of my hardcore series because I'm trying to talk about Donald Trump and Easter and nuclear warfare while punching an Enderman with my fist. So, I can officially say I played hardcore Minecraft. I could say I played hardcore Minecraft. How about we just do something a little more easy. Easy mode. I failed hardcore immediately. Oh. Also, I think it's kind of cool to do a regular world that I could create and build and cultivate. You know, hardcore mode's like real life without the gospel. It's like what you got is that's it, right? And then a game of Minecraft with respawn is like, yeah, I'm gonna die, but everything I build on this earth is going to glorify God in eternity. So you're a bit of more of a stakeholder. You know, you take more risks, and you know, back to what I was saying about Jesus sent out the apostles without any talking points. You know, didn't provide them fancy clothes or a house. Just said, "My grace is sufficient," and just go. So I think that's the way we should live, is just on radical mission. That's what I was modeled in my family growing up. So let's do that in Minecraft, shall we? Just, I have no plan, and if I die, then I'm covered, you know. In the real world, I'm covered by the blood, the atoning blood and grace of Jesus Christ. And if I die in Minecraft, it's because there's a respawn. Let's see the cool stuff we can build together, folks. But yeah, so back to what I was saying, is like why I'm doing this. It's just literally on Easter. I think I was fed up. I think I met my breaking point. I voted for Trump. Think many Americans, I know. Also, this is just getting too loud. Let's just, oops, music. I love Minecraft music, and I hope in me changing this, you guys can hear the music. But it's just getting a little loud for me, because I can't hear my own thoughts. Yeah, so most Americans voted for Donald Trump. Not because we're all stupid, not because we all fell for bait, not because we all just dumb and don't do our research. I think the average American that voted for Trump is not some diehard MAGA ride or die Trump does no wrong. You know, we're not all Paula White saying that like Jesus is the second coming of Christ. I just think most of us are like, yeah, we don't want the government to continue child sacrifice through abortion. You know, we don't want our government to fun transgender surgeries of illegal immigrants. I think we're all exhausted of that, especially my generation. I know we're all just hungry for virtue in our country and truth. It's funny because the boomers, it's just like, well, morals don't matter a whole lot. Social stuff doesn't matter a whole lot, but you cannot be socialist. Whereas I think the biblical Christian standpoint is like, if your governing authority is not righteous, then like that's number one. Romans 13 teaches us that governments are given the authority by God because authority can only come from God. Paul is making a dope philosophical argument that to appeal to an authority and for authority to have real power must be contingent upon something greater than itself, right? When a mathematician is proving his equation right, he's not appealing to his own credentials as a mathematician. He is appealing to a law that is objective, that is greater than himself. And if any of us spend the time to sit down and say, well, where does math come from, right? If math is this self-referential objective system, what is that appealing to? If our universe is just matter and energy, how do we get math? How do we get morals, right? And Paul's kind of making that argument. He's like, governments wield authority. They wield a sword of God's judgment. And there is no power on this earth, no authority that doesn't derive its authority from God. So in that being said, if authority comes from God, I think authorities on earth should model God's righteousness. Not necessarily a theocracy or Christian nationalism, whatever that means. Those buzzwords thrown around. No, I'm not asking for a theocracy. I'm not asking for be Christian or die. I'm just saying, can we please not sleep with little kids? Can we please not offer our children up to Molech? Can we please not send all of our taxpayer dollars to foreign nations committing ethnic cleansing? Like, that to me is not putting the sword to all gay people. That's not follow the Bible or you'll be imprisoned. I think that's the bare minimum. And I think even non-Christians got to that point. I think that's why Trump got voted, right? Trump ran on no new wars. He ran on transparency in the Epstein files, JFK files. He just ran on transparency. And obviously he betrayed that. Absolutely he betrayed that. Especially the no new wars. The no new wars is laughable because Trump was the one who flamed Obama and the Biden administration, like belittling them. Like, these idiots are gonna go to war with Iran. That's the stupidest thing you could do. And then Senor Trump kissed the wall and had a change of perspective, I guess. So in me saying this, does that mean I regret voting for Trump or I'm voting Democrat? No, of course not, right? It's like, are you going to vote for the warmongering neocons or the the illegal immigrants and sacrifice your child to Molech? I'm abstaining from politics for the foreseeable future. As far as voting, man, this is embarrassing trying to talk and play. I'm just like punching poor animals. It's time to get some stone. Yeah, so I really wanted a platform to just, not complain, not share my grievances, right? I have a fiance, I have a God who listens to me all the time. But the reason I felt like maybe I should create a platform is because people in my life, I'm killing animals again. What am I doing? We're just gonna we're gonna break the Minecraft #1 rule. We're gonna dig straight down for some cobble. I just have always been told that, yeah, we love listening to you, love your Bible studies, love what you had to say. You have a unique perspective. And I find that ironic because I really don't think my perspective is that unique. I just think my perspective is a silent majority. If you're in your 20s, you're in your late teens, you're a young white Christian male, not a lot of this is going to be new to you. If you're a black Christian male, you're a Hispanic Christian male, your perspective is very similar too, right? Our race is irrelevant to our sonship, but it's not irrelevant to the powers that be, right? It's ingrained in your mind as a little kid. It's like Christians are responsible for all the evil of the world, especially heterosexual Christians, especially white heterosexual Christians. It's just, I think all of us are pretty fed up with that. I think all of us are pretty fed up with that. Hence why a lot of us voted for Trump. A lot of Hispanics voted for Trump. And the Democrats think that's absurd. They're like, why would Trump's racist? Trump's a racist who hates Mexicans. Why are all the Mexicans voting for him? Probably because Mexicans value family. Probably because they value God. Not all of them, right? That's a generalization. Get ready for a lot of generalizations, and some of which I may need to apologize for. But I don't think anyone, if you're watching this and you know me, then that's not really that far-fetched of a thing for me to say. But in all seriousness, it's just, I'm sick of it. I don't care about people's race. I don't care about where you come from. I care about what you do. I care about who you submit to. Do you submit to Jesus or do you not? Do you belong to God or do you belong to the devil? The Bible makes it that clear. Jesus makes it that clear. We live in a time where, people voted for Trump because they're like, we're sick of this identity politics stuff. Oh, hey there. We're sick of this identity politics stuff, We're sick of the Democrats and this gender crap. Sick of the everyone's a racist crap. And then Trump gets elected and it's like, you're an anti-Semite. If you don't want us to nuke Iran, you're an anti-Semite. If you don't want us to liberate the people of Iran by blowing up their desalination plants, blowing up their little girls' schools, and I'm just fed up with that. How can you possibly be anti-Semitic if you live for the gospel, right? The gospel is quite literally the fulfillment and culmination of Jewish teaching. Not all of Israel belongs to Israel, but all of Israel will be saved. So anyone who hates the name of Jesus, are you really a child of the promise? I don't really care about your race. I don't care if you're I don't care if you actually trace your lineage from Abraham himself. If you reject Christ, I'm sorry, man. You're not covered. Especially not if you're a secular, atheistic, communist Russian who converted to Judaism. You have no genetic tie to Abraham. Nor do you have any religious tie to Abraham. It's like, don't get me started on that stuff. But this is a one-sided conversation, so I guess I got myself started on that. There's going to be a lot of rabbit holes. There's going to be a lot of just random nonsense. Whatever floods my mind. Also, my hotbar is atrocious, guys. I'm usually really good at Minecraft, but I'm not very good at multitasking. I'm learning. But yeah, whether you're a Christian or a conservative or you're a moderate who's not really religious, I think pretty much anyone who voted for Trump, wowzers. I think anyone who voted for Trump who's not been watching Fox News for 30 years feels pretty betrayed by all that's been going on. Because there's nothing more fundamental to Christianity than don't kill other people, right? And I'm not saying there's no context for the use of violent force. Go read the Old Testament. God clearly utilizes violent force for his judgment. I'm just saying the language that we saw on Easter Sunday, the literal, like, cursing language, but also the death, the destruction. Easter's a day about redemption and resurrection, and death has no hold of us. It's about life. It's about restoration. And seeing the leader of our nation talking about the opposite, destruction, and wielding it pridefully. That's not something Christians can support. As a Christian, I don't support that. As somebody who voted for Trump, and in honesty, as someone who thinks Trump's a funny guy, I liked a lot of what he has done in the past. I've had a lot of grace for him, and now I'm reconsidering if that was a blind spot of mine, which I'm open to correction. But I was fond of a lot of what Trump did. I always thought he had an ego problem. Always thought he was a Christian in name only, right? Now we know he's literally just a Jewish operative, whatever that even means. But in that, I never thought that Trump was like some Christian figure. I just literally looked at him as he's better than Kamala, which I think that's still true. But that's besides the point. I'm not calling for everyone to denounce Trump. I'm not calling for everyone to say, switch your party. I'm kind of calling for the opposite. Like, pray for President Trump. Pray for those around him. Pray for our country and our culture. Pray for the Christians in the Middle East. We need to seriously wake up as Americans. As Christian Americans, we need to lead our nation well and be the light of the world. Oh man, these are a lot of googlies out. And as somebody who voted for Trump, as somebody who's very conservative and agree with a lot of his conservative viewpoints, Christians can't support the killing of civilians. You know, Christians can't support unconditionally a nation state that is marked by the rejection of Jesus Christ. Even if, we're going to get into this. If this becomes a YouTube series, if I start posting things on YouTube, we'll do a deep dive on should Christians support Israel. We'll do a deep dive on what are the Jews, what is Israel, dispensation. We'll get into all that theology stuff. We will. But now I'm ranting about Trump and us going to war on behalf of Israel while playing Minecraft, because why not? How many people are talking about the synagogue of Satan while playing Minecraft? I don't know. Maybe that's a niche. Maybe that's a niche I'm going to be filling. Or maybe, once again, this audio file is going to be completely cooked and this never sees the light of day. But back to what I was saying, regardless of if the modern state of Israel traces themselves genetically to Abraham, regardless of if God still has a plan for the Jewish people, regardless of if Israel fulfills an eschatological purpose, regardless of any of that, Christians cannot unconditionally support killing. Christians cannot unconditionally support the defilement of Jesus. Of course we can't, guys. Of course not. I'm not a dispensationalist. I don't hold to third temple, we must usher in the end times to be raptured up. I don't hold that eschatology. I don't hold that theology. But if I did, if I were convinced of it, that biblically that is true, biblically we must support Israel and the modern day Jews, whatever that means, we'll get into that stuff later. But even if that stuff's true, that wouldn't make me support dropping buildings on kids' faces. Because God had promises with Israel in the Old Testament, and he never broke any of them. We are firm believers that God is a keeper of his promises as Christians. That's where we get our security and hope in, is that God is honest and true. And timeless and does not change. And Israel certainly had periods of prosperity and rebellion, and sometimes they occupied the land and sometimes they didn't. You know, the Babylonian exile and then the subsequent conquering by Persia and then Greece and then Rome and then Jesus saying it is finished on the cross. Like, there has been so many times recorded in the Bible where quote unquote Israel did not occupy that region of the world. But let's say that land belongs to them. Let's say that land does belong to them. And by them, I mean the Ashkenazi Zionist Jews of Israel and America. Does it belong to them? Even if it did, even if I was fully convinced that a Ashkenazi Jew is the same as somebody who descended from the 12 tribes of Jacob, even if I believed all of that, which I don't. But if I'm wrong, correct me. Also, I'm going to die. I'm being a goober because I'm just running around aimlessly talking about Israel. Even if I did believe all of that, which, please, if that's the biblical truth, I will accept that biblical truth. I've just never heard that argument presented to me. And I'm all ears for the argument. And if I were convinced of it, I still would not be convinced. Even if Israel has unconditional claim to that land, I would not be convinced that American Christians have a moral duty and obligation to fund their wars and to kill children. And I think that's pretty moderate. I don't think that's that radical. I think the average American Christian agrees with me. I think the average non-Christian agrees with me. So then what do we do, folks? Pretty much all of us have recognized this wrong. You know, the Epstein stuff, COVID, all of these moments where we've just like been awakened to the government's corruption and evil and wickedness. And that's demonic. Not just like, it's not merely human corruption. It is like we literally have invited demons into our government. So what do we do about that? Does 1776 commence again? Or was it because the foundations of our country were formed in bloodshed that we're here at this moment right now? For those who are Christians and listening, and I'm not speaking past you, you know exactly what I'm talking about with all this Israel stuff. How are we any better than the human sacrificers in our government if we shed the blood of our current administration, of our current government structure to bring about our own benefit? And that's just continuing human sacrifice. Never break the cycle. So it's just pick your flavor of human sacrifice, and then boom, we're right back to where we were with the two-party system. Because if it's, well, are we going to let the Zionist neocons kill a bunch of people for their own financial gain and bringing about their eschatological framework? Or do we kill them so that we bring about our desires for our country? Or do we say, no, let's submit to Christ, and in submitting to Christ, we pay our taxes regardless of how corrupt they are? Doesn't get more corrupt or more persecution than the Roman government. And Jesus said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So if we're going to participate in the American system, take money with the U.S. president's faces on it, then I don't think violent revolt is an option, my friends. And if any of you have ever seen the masterpiece that is Vinland Saga, then essentially I guess my question is, what is that first method? I believe in a right to self-defense. I believe in just wars. I think that there are wars that are justified. I think very few of them are. Far more wars are not justified than are, but there exists such thing as a justified war, you know, where no civilians are targeted or killed, where there's an end in sight and an actual goal and an actual objective, and the use of violent force is proportional and it's never preemptive. That I could be convinced is a justified war. So then what is that first method, right? If violence is only used as a last resort, meaning this man committed a crime and now he is going to be judged for it after it occurred, right? We don't have preemptive arrests. You know, you didn't commit a crime, but you're gonna. So I'm gonna lock you up. You know, you didn't kill anyone, but we're still gonna publicly execute you because you could have. You know, there is no just preemptive strike. You know, that's like saying these bees could sting us at any moment, so let's punch the hive so they don't mess with us, right? It's just, that's ridiculous. All of us with common sense know that that's terrible. You know, Strait of Hormuz was open before we waged war in Iran. Trump actually did a lot of awesome global... Sorry, beehive, didn't mean to chop your tree down. Trump did a lot of global peace deals. You know, I think the world respected him a lot more than they respected Biden, and that's just like really showed that he kissed the wall in this whole Iran and Venezuela situation. But I digress. If violence is our last resort, violence is reserved for justice, justice that is retributional, which is proportionate to the violence inflicted, or to say it's self-defense, meaning I have a greater duty and responsibility to my family than to this deranged man trying to harm them, so I will own a gun and protect my family. If that's our last method, our last resort, as long as we have somewhere to run, we will never fight, then what's our first method? Right? Because as terrible as things are in America, which they are absolutely demonic and terrible, I'm not belittling that, I'm not minimizing that. We haven't quite gotten to the point where Americans are just shot down in their homes because of their faith. And even if they were, the early church at least didn't model revolt against Rome. Jesus had all the authority and power to wipe them out. You know, the church had enough influence to assemble and revolt against Rome, but they submitted and surrendered, even upon death. But I'm not going to tell you that if a tyrannical government sends a bunch of officers to your house to take you and your wife and your children out, you can't defend yourself. You know, I think you do have the right to defend yourself. But I don't think we ever have the right to revolt. At least not violently. I think we need a spiritual revolution in America. So what's the first method then? Well, what's beautiful about everything that God has revealed to us through Jesus is that it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. I bet you can hear people giggling outside my dorm. Just a reminder, I'm filming this at my desk on my MacBook in a dorm. So, again, this could just be my ears only, and this never sees the light of day. Or maybe I just post it and it's totally chopped, and I just accept that because 4 people are going to click this video. And the people that click this video probably aren't going to get this deep into the video. But if you're this deep into the video, consider subscribing, like the video, comment. Comment down your favorite Bible verse in the comment section if you're hearing this. But yeah, I didn't mean to get distracted at the point where I was going to say what the first method is. You know, sorry to spoil it for you, Thorfinn. But I think the first method is submittance. That's what's revealed in the gospel. And subsequently everything in our life. It's submittance. And you guys immediately hear that. And I even hear that. And I'm just like, isn't it us being weak and submissive and pacifist and asleep during all these problems? Isn't that exactly what got us here in the first place? Isn't it our lack of resistance that led us here? If only we were all just these high testosterone, charge the Capitol and overthrow and publicly execute all these pedophiles and Satanists, that would fix our country. Well, I think we need to fight that impulse. There's no one more manly than Jesus Christ. Masculinity is dope. Testosterone is dope. Being a man is an incredible position that God has gifted us. We are the stronger vessel. We have more physical strength. Our role and duty is literally to provide and be strong, and we fight and protect. God gave us in our physicality strength and dominion. Who has greater strength than Jesus, who in every part of his nature is completely, fully God, who is completely and utterly and totally powerful over everything? Yet, he washed the feet of some fishermen, and he laid his life down for others. Now, that's pretty manly. That's pretty dope to me. And then that's exactly what all his followers did. And if you're like me and you love America, you love Christianity, you love the West, you're proud to be a Christian, you're a proud American, that's what the West was founded on. The reason we as Christians should take issue with the American regime is because it's sacrificing others. It's about self-interest and gain. It's about storing up treasures on this earth. It's investing in what's perishable rather than what's imperishable. And if we look at all of the models of what actually brings prosperity, it is always self-sacrifice. It is always submittance. Jesus demonstrated his power and glory in sacrificing himself on the cross. I'm not saying take a vow of nonviolence, right? Jesus said, sell your bags and buy a sword. But what I'm saying is, Peter, thinking he was defending his Lord, was actually in opposition to the will of God when he attacked that Roman guard. It wasn't merely, you used a sword, that's what's bad inherently. It was, you used a sword offensively in opposition to what I have already commanded you was going to happen. What I already informed you was going to happen, Peter. I told you that I was going to be taken and killed, and that I would raise again. So why are you trying to stop this? That was the problem. But I hear you guys. I hear young Christian men who are like, what about these children Who's going to be their defender? Who's going to event? Oh, should we go to the Nether? I need one more iron. Yeah, one more iron. Who's going to avenge these kids? Right? Sacrificing your own life, that's dope. That's your life to give. But what about the people who aren't protected? What about the innocent? I hear you. And I wrestle with that myself. I don't have exactly the perfect practical answer. I just have faith that God is the perfect, righteous, just avenger. That we can rely on him to protect these children who are harmed. That we can trust that he is perfectly handling their souls. And that he will perfectly and righteously judge those who harm them. I think I'd go insane if I didn't believe that. So then how does submittance bring about a more Christian government? Well, I mean, open a history book. That's exactly what happened to Rome. I'm not a Catholic myself, but my Catholic listeners, if there are any, you guys know the history of the church? That the same government that put to death all these Christians was transformed by their self-sacrifice. They sacrificed others and could not triumph over it. Constantine saw that. He made the Roman government a Christian government. You know, my fellow Protestants, I guess we would say that inevitably that corrupted the church and the world was corrupt. And, you know, I'm not saying that Rome is the perfect image of the church. I'm not saying that. But absolutely, the Western world was improved by Christianity, even if inevitably, well, that is embarrassing. Never punished. Never punished. You know, inevitably we needed a reform because when you conflate government power and church authority and world authority, when you conflate them, absolutely, there's a corruption of the church. Oh my goodness. Guys, what am I doing? I promise I'm good at Minecraft. Maybe on this second episode, I will just talk about what I'm going to do in Minecraft and talk about what's happening in Minecraft. I have just ran around a lava puddle and run around the forest and just done absolutely nothing in this game. And also have just gone in a bunch of different conversational rabbit holes. I'm trying to create a logical thread here, friends. I really am. I really am trying to create something that is enjoyable to listen to, but we'll see. All right. Let us... Holy moly, you guys. Let us flee from here. I will not remain in the presence of evil. You zombies. All right. Let's wrap this conversation up with a bow. All right. I've gone all over the place. I have a lot of thoughts that are not very organized. This is why I need a journal. I hope I've said something relatable at least, or something that you share concern with. But what do we do about our ungodly, satanic, wicked, pedophile government? Are we to say we're removed from politics? Is that what it means to submit? Is to just say we don't care? Absolutely not. You know, John the Baptist was not beheaded for saying, I like Jesus. He was beheaded for calling out the immorality of Herod's marriage. Daniel found himself occupying political influence, and he used it. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. And Daniel used that political influence to encourage the secular, not even, no, sorry, forgive me, not secular, the pagan government of Babylon to submit to the Almighty God. I'm not saying we establish a theocracy, and I'm definitely saying we don't establish a theocracy by force. But we should absolutely be a Christian nation. The church and the government should be distinct. The church should be something that is not influenced by money or influenced by politics. But I'm pretty confident in saying that the church and the government should have aligned interests, because the goal of the church is to feed and clothe and protect and to spread goodness and truth and be transparent and care about the well-being of others. Should that not be what our government does? Should not our government be a peacemaker in this world that loves and serves its citizens? Should not the church do that same thing? And that's my point, guys, is that the gospel is universal. There's not a single situation in this life where the gospel does not apply. All of our decisions and thoughts should be informed by that metric of self-sacrifice. So I think Christians, we need to be unified. We need to stop with all this nonsense and this division over things the Bible whispers about. We shout about what the Bible whispers. Wes Huff, thank you for that. Smash the like button. We'll get a Wes Huff collab. Episode 3. Like and comment. This unnamed channel's the best, and we'll get Tucker Carlson on here. Is this niche, guys? Is this freaking niche? I just said freaking like 4 times. I'm sorry, guys. Is this niche? I am playing Minecraft in a Gojo skin, talking about geopolitics and Christianity. Is that niche? Maybe not. Maybe not. But who cares if it's niche, if it's totally unwatchable, right? I don't think I've actually provided much good content. But maybe I will be overwhelmed with comments that say, this is dope. I'm interested. I like that it's unpolished and all over the place. So if you listen to anything today, take anything from today, just forget everything I said and just listen to this. Jesus Christ is your Lord, and he loves you. And he desperately, not desperately, what? That's a bad choice of words. Jesus does not need us. It is purely out of his love and the love of the Father that he desires us. Jesus has no need for us. That's a divine aseity for you, friends. God is completely whole and perfectly loving in and of himself. Jesus desires for us to love one another. He desires our souls to prosper. He promises us that in him. So if we don't see our souls prospering, then there is an absence of Jesus in our life and in our nation. And we need to witness that. We need to bring that to our country. We need to bring that to our world. I'm getting killed. All right. We need to build a house. Let's build a house. Our world desperately needs Jesus, guys. That's what I'm saying. You know, I'm not saying we need this policy and a third political party, or we need Israel to lose this war and we need Iran to defend it. I'm not. No, there's no human solution to these supernatural problems. I'm saying there is a solution, that we don't need to wait around for some event to be fulfilled. That's why Easter, full circle moment, back to my original point. That's why Easter's so special. Death was defeated. He is risen presently. All authority on heaven and earth has been given to Jesus. That's special, guys. What am I doing? I just deleted my map. Cool. That is special, guys. That the Lord of the universe, while we were still sinners, died for us. I don't have a step-by-step plan how to fix our country. I don't have a step-by-step plan how to make Trump not be such a egomaniac. I don't have a step-by-step plan how to get rid of the Jewish lobby in our country, or foreign interests for that matter out of our country. I don't have the step-by-step. I don't know any of these things, guys. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm just running around in Minecraft. That's literally what I started this whole video by, was I don't know what I'm doing. But I know what Jesus has done. It is finished. It is complete. He is our provider. He is our sustainer. All that we need is in him. And I just want us to live that out individually. We submit to God as individuals. We submit to God collectively as a church in unity. That on the essential issues we have unity, and on the non-essentials we have liberty. And if we as the church are a loud, unified voice that this is wicked, even if the government kills us and destroys us, death was defeated on the cross. Death has no hold over us. All that they would be doing is sending us to be with our Father where we belong, where we have been adopted and called. That's powerful. That is the solution, is that death has no hold over us, because it is impossible for death to have a hold over the God of this universe. So let's walk in that, shall we? It's not as simple as we just call out what's evil. Anyone can do that. Anyone can say bombing kids is evil. That's actually obvious. Anyone can say that pedophilia and this Epstein child sex ring is evil. Anyone can say that false flags and covering up and government corruption and church corruption and buying flying jets, and all jets fly, I guess, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to give examples. Anyone can call out evil. Anyone can address evil. Anyone can address good. Anyone can address Jesus as Messiah. Even the demons do that. They say, "What do you want with us, most anointed one from God?" Do you submit? Do you yield your will to the Father's as Christ did? That's what I care about. Whoa, hey there, Woodland Mansion. That's what I care about. I want our government to submit to the authority of God, because then, as the citizens of that nation, we don't need to feel uneasy submitting to our government, which we should do. Even if our government is corrupt, we should not ever resort to violence. That is the last method. Can this see me through glass? I'm not ready for that. I've got no armor. I'm just gonna like put a little marker on this. Let's put a little marker on this, shall we? Is this cheating? Tell me in the comments. Smash like, subscribe. Tell me in the comments. Am I cheating by adding waypoints? I'll delete this world and start it anew. It's not like I accomplished anything. Look at my inventory. I want child sacrifice to end, guys. I want the perversion of marriage to end, the perversion of sex to end. I want addiction to end. I want all of these things gone and rid from our world. And what breaks my heart is that it has been put to death on the cross. Yet we live in it and continue to live in it. And it is only by God's grace that He continues to sanctify us, because He looks at our souls as the righteousness of Christ. That is absolutely undeserved. And I thank you, God, for that grace. We're not waiting for a solution. We're not waiting for end time events to be fulfilled. The Spirit that rose Christ from the dead dwells in us. Jesus didn't equip His apostles with, here's the 10-step plan to saving billions of people, but in them just saying, Lord, you're my daily bread. Provide for me each day, Father. By yielding their will to God's, by trusting in the Spirit. A bunch of young men, a bunch of fishermen, a bunch of low status but God-fearing men transformed the entire world. So I have a lot of confidence and security in not knowing exactly how to fix this world. I know that I myself have no power over this world and death, that Jesus alone has the power over it, and He will equip me and prepare me in the way I can. So my individual responsibility is not to fix the government or fix Israel or fix any nation for that matter. My personal responsibility is to love those around me, love my fiance, provide for her, protect her, and honor her, and uplift her. My responsibility is to steward my body and my mind and guard my heart above all else. And get fit, get in shape, eat well, take care of myself, take care of others, take on responsibilities. That's what I need to do. And if you're listening, that's what you need to do too. Take responsibility for your life. Go before the Lord as a sinner and say, I have fallen so short, Father, forgive me and help me forgive others. Equip me. You have transformed my life, God. Continue transforming me. And if millions of us are transformed in America, then I think that in our submittance we can transform our country. That's my TED Talk, guys. I don't really want to end the video here because those of you who wanted a Minecraft video, I did not really deliver on that. Like, nothing occurred. I ran around. I chopped down trees and got cobble and a bunch of random stuff. So, future notes. I'm going to learn how to integrate conversation with my gameplay. Maybe I just do a voiceover, you know. I'm just locked in on Minecraft stuff, and then I do a voiceover podcast type deal. Maybe I do that. But for the time being, until I go on another rant, let's just do some Minecraft things, shall we? I definitely need iron, so I should be going underground. I just didn't want to go underground while talking about our satanic government because I will die immediately. I am going to die if I do that. But now that I'm going to be locked in on Minecraft stuff, let's find a cave, shall we? Let's explore this outpost. I want to keep this outpost in mind for the future because maybe we'll get an ominous bottle farm or a raid farm, some trial chamber stuff, but it's not really on flat ground. That would be a pain in the butt to deal with, so maybe we don't do that. Also, let's resource packs. Fulbright is on, so I don't know why. Whoa, hey there. Leave me alone. Fulbright is on. I don't know why it's so dark, but that's fine. Maybe this is what Fulbright looks like. Don't hurt me, bro. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. No one does. I was just talking about the first method and nonviolence. I don't want to hurt you. I do not desire to shed your blood. Repent of your sins, pillager. Repent. Lay down the sword. Lay down your bow. You will die. But, guys, I promise I played a lot of Minecraft. You know, I know what I'm doing. I just am bad at multitasking. So, we totally could have went to the nether back there, but then I just ran so far away from that nether, that lava pit. Let's get some full iron armor. Let's get some buckets. Let's go to the nether. I don't want to kill this guy because I was just preaching nonviolence. Don't want to be a hypocrite. But probably going to end up killing that guy, to be honest. I need a shield. Do I have iron? Do I even have one iron? Okay, cool. I can make a shield. Yeah, I can make a shield. Let's make a shield. Let's get away from this guy. I don't know how to fill the silence, guys. I really don't. Because I'm either going to talk and then not be locked in. But if I lock in, then it's like, what's the point of watching this? So maybe I do a voiceover. Or maybe people are going to blow up the comments like, we love this. This is amazing. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. All three of you who are going to see the first 10 minutes of this video and then turn it off because I mentioned Netanyahu and Israel. Guys, there's so much more I'd rather talk about than Israel. There's so much more I'd rather talk about than politics. I'm just saying I'm frustrated with the state of our world, the current state of our world as of April 2026. Hey, maybe you're listening 10 years from now and you're like, Israel, what the heck is that? That old thing? That's not even a country anymore. I shouldn't say that. Or maybe you're going to be like, Israel, what do you mean? Like, you mean the one world global empire? You know, who knows? But I'm just speaking about what's on my mind right now, you know? Next video, maybe I'll talk about the gym and why two sets of 6 to 8 reps is my favorite. You know, maybe I'll talk about my theological views or my testimony, or maybe I'll talk about why Attack on Titan is the greatest work of nonfiction, or maybe I'll talk about my beautiful fiance, or maybe I'll talk about nothing and I'll just beat the Ender Dragon. I don't know, guys. This is not an anti-Israel channel. This is not an anti-anybody channel. I love all people genuinely from the bottom of my heart. We're just a little frustrated with the nation state of Israel. Not with Jews. Not with Israelis. Not with Americans. Not with Iranians. We don't believe in collective punishment as Christians. We don't believe in collective guilt. I am angry with the leaders of this government and the leaders of the Israeli government. I am angry with those who belong to the devil. Father, in my anger, I pray that I do not sin. I'm talking again. I'm talking again. So I'm just chopping down trees mindlessly. And look at my hotbar. I've got just nonsense in my hotbar. Um, but yeah, I love all people. And it's because of my love for people I feel angry at the suffering of people caused by other people. And we're not going to talk about Israel every week. Unless they give me stuff to talk about. You know, if Trump nukes Iran, we're going to probably be talking about that next time. Or if there's a ceasefire, we're probably going to be like, hey, good job, Trump. Whoa, wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. I'll be like, hey, good job, Trump. I didn't think you had it in ya. Or maybe it's just all going to be irrelevant in the end. And I'm going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. Should I be streaming this, guys? Should I be streaming on Twitch? Streaming on YouTube? I feel like I would do much better in this format, interacting with the chat. I can't I cannot imagine anyone watching this. I can't imagine that I even actually pressed the record button. I have no idea if this is recording. I have no idea if this is going to save, if it's going to be, the file's going to be corrupted. I have no idea if the audio is going to be terrible. I don't know if the screen display is even on. I just have faith that it'll work out. And sometimes working out is that it doesn't work out. Sometimes God just has a plan that you're going to talk to yourself for an hour and a half. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Let's smelt some iron, shall we? Here's what we'll do. I found the method. I think I'm finding it out. I talk about Minecraft for a little bit, just enough to be fixated on the next task, and then I talk about what I want to talk about. That was my chair. Sorry for the loud squeak. What should I name this channel, guys? What should I name it? I have no name for this channel. I don't even know if this is going to be posted or not. I don't want to name reveal. Those of you who know who I am, don't be doxing me. I'll tell your mom. Don't be dropping pictures of me on the internet. Gotta do a crazy face reveal. Minecraft's peaceful. I hope you guys hear the music and the in-game audio. I really genuinely don't know what I'm doing. But people value authenticity, right? Or am I at the point of so much authenticity that it's like, dude, what's the point of even watching this, dude? Like, you're just bumbling about. You film a YouTube video. You do it. I'm just kidding. Well, what should we talk about while my pork chops smell? Guys, I love America. I love more than America, more than my citizenship to America, my citizenship to this nation. I love the people of this world. I love God. I desire prosperity for our world. Not financial, but spiritual. They're not always antithetical, but oftentimes they are. I mean, the rich elite that's poisoned this country, their souls were first poisoned by their love of money. The devil entered into Judas because he had a corrupt, covetous, greedy heart that stole from Christ's ministry. So, it's obvious that the devil has infiltrated our country through our love of money. I mean, that's at least what I think. Smash like, comment if you agree or disagree. I mean, how can the devil not be in our government when we legalize same-sex marriage and abortion? And adultery is legal, and pornography is legal. Our daughters prostitute themselves. Almost just made another axe. I don't need that. Our economy is so bad that young women view it as an option to prostitute themselves, and they view that as liberating. Like, that is demonic. That is backwards. Oh, almost had another lava incident. Drop down in the comments if you remember the OG lava incident. Episode 1 of Schizocraft. Wowzers. Yeah, guys, I'm a simple guy. Maybe you think I'm psychotic, or maybe you're like, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just you're saying it in a crazy way, and you're playing Minecraft poorly. Well, maybe that's the case, but I am loved by God in my foolishness and humanity. I am loved deeply by the creator of this universe. Let's talk about God. You know, I've been talking to this audience, assuming you guys like affirm Christianity and conservative values, and that you enjoy America, or you think Israel is an enemy to America. Like, I've assumed a lot of things, guys. Let's start from ground zero. Why do I believe in God? You know, let's start there. I don't know why I'm building a platform. I don't need this. Blop. Why do I believe in God? Why should you believe in God? Well, I think before we even enter that conversation, there's another thing we have to talk about that maybe we'll talk about for the remainder of this video, and then talk about God next time. Is there such thing as truth? Can the truth be known? Is the truth something objective, independent of our thoughts and feelings? If you say no, that we're just a byproduct of randomness, and that nothing is objective, everything is subjective because we're just a cosmic accident, nothing but pitiful genetic indifference. If you just think that everyone is a byproduct of their circumstances and culture, I'd want to ask how consistent you are with that framework if I barged into your house and stole all your food. By what standard can you have a right to be upset with me? By what standard can we say, this practice is wrong? Because I say it's so obvious that there are objective moral values. I'm not saying that all morality is objective. Of course not. Circumstances dictate certain moral values, of course. I don't think torturing of people is subjective. I don't think mass murder of civilians is subjective. I don't think rape is subjective. If we take extreme examples, there are so clearly things that are objectively true, but maybe you're not convinced. Maybe you're not convinced of that. Then I'd just ask you, like, what about values? Like, what about numbers? What about scientific facts? Like, is it objectively true that water, H2O, is made of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen? Like, is that an objectively true statement? Like, what is truth? That's what Pontius Pilate asked Jesus. What is truth? That's what we must ask before we get into the conversation of, is there a God? Because whether or not there is a God, whether or not he can be known, depends on if truth can be known. And I would argue that God is truth. God is the source of truth. God is love. God is the source of love. So it's not that God himself is contingent upon this abstract idea of truth existing. No, no, no. God's not contingent upon that. I'm saying to even have these questions is to appeal to a consciousness, to appeal to a system of logic, to appeal to something personal. That's what I'm saying. God is just the name of the blanket we throw over God because we cannot understand him. So I'd say, if you don't think truth exists or can be known, I don't know how I could even communicate with you. How do you know that statement is true? Wowzers. Hi, Creeper. Wow, 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 wow. This is scary, you guys. How do you know that statement's true? There's no such thing as truth. How do you know that's true? What has informed you to take that worldview? Or is that statement false? It's just like, is that it's like, doesn't even make sense. Why even think at all? If there's no such thing as the truth, like, that's nonsense. We know it's nonsense. I'm not gonna cater to that worldview. If you're like, how could, oh, I just name dropped myself. I just name revealed. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, I might have to edit that in post. Censor my name out. If they say individual playing Minecraft, that's offensive. How could you belittle my worldview by saying it's so obvious that there's no way I can make that. How dare you belittle my worldview saying it's just so obviously false? Okay, drop that comment down and I will make a video dedicated to why truth is objective. But I think we can just, for sake of argument, say, yeah, objective truths exist. Objective truth can be known. So then, if truth can be known, can the truth of God be known? Is God some unfalsifiable claim? That's why you should just, like, write it off in the first place. Like, if you define God as the creator of the universe and say the universe requires a creator, then of course that's logically airtight. Okay, well, God is testable and falsifiable. If the nature of God as articulated in the Bible is a logical impossibility, I would cease to be a God-believing man. If it were demonstrated to me that Jesus did not rise from the dead, I would not be a Christian. And I don't feel ashamed to admit that, because Paul himself said if Christ did not raise from the dead, we are to be the most pitied of all men. So for me, my worldview is very falsifiable. Prove to me that God logically or even likely does not exist. Or prove to me that logically or likely Jesus did not raise from the dead. Either of those things. And I'd abandon my faith in Christianity. So then why do I believe in God? Well, this could be an entire series. I'm not going to give all the points and all my arguments and all my worldview in one video. I think this video is probably long enough. But in short, there are good reasons to believe in Christianity. There are not good reasons to believe in naturalism or atheism or agnosticism. And God can be personally known and experienced. God has transformed my life. God is the source of all the goodness in my life. So, before we dive into the depths of apologetics and theology, I would just want you listening to ask yourself, if the God of the Bible were proven to be true, if Christianity were proven to be true, or not even proven, if you were given sufficient evidence that Christianity were true, would you worship Jesus? I've admitted my standard, my burden of proof to convince me out of my worldview. I will denounce my faith in Jesus if he did not raise from the dead. I will become an atheist if God is a logical impossibility. I say that with a sincere heart. So now I want to ask you, listener, who maybe does not currently have a relationship with the Lord, what would it require for you to accept Jesus? What would convince you? What evidence is necessary for you to accept the Lord into your heart? And if you say no amount of evidence would ever cause me to worship God, ask yourself who has the unreasonable worldview. Is it the Christians, or is it the worldview that says no amount of evidence would convince me that that's true? That's anti-scientific. That is the antithesis of logic and math and science. So if you want to be honest and say, yeah, I have emotional issues with Jesus, that's why I'm not a Christian. It's not because of logic, it's because my heart, I don't accept Jesus. Then I just pray, God, reveal yourself to them and honor their honesty. Honor their honesty that they have emotional human heart problems rather than an actual logical case against your existence. God, I pray you honor that. And if you say, no, I would believe in Jesus if given sufficient evidence, then oh boy, are we going to have a fun time during this Minecraft series or YouTube series. I don't know what this is going to become. I don't know if this is even recording once again. But I hope it is recording. I hope that somebody out there is listening to this. I just want to encourage you, potential skeptic. If you're saying, I would be convinced of the existence of Jesus if given sufficient evidence. I would be convinced that there is a God given sufficient evidence. Then investigate it. Investigate it. You yourself just admit it. If I found evidence that there is a God who loves me and created me, if there is evidence that the Bible and the gospel message is true, I would believe in it. Should you not devote all of your time, or at least a serious amount of time, investigating that? If transformation, if redemption, if eternal peace and eternal life and perfect love with the creator of the universe is available to you, shouldn't you explore that? I'd argue you should. I would argue even to the person who has admitted, yeah, I have emotional reasons I don't believe in Jesus. I would say you too should ask yourself, why do I resist that? Why do I resist salvation? And open your heart up to the Lord, who will bless you abundantly. Not with earthly blessings, that's not the promise. The promise is that Jesus defeated death because you never could. And with that, I think it's a good point to end the video. I've got full iron armor, iron tools. It only took 2 hours. By this time, I'd probably have full diamond if I weren't recording myself, but I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let's see what the Lord makes of this. If you got this far, just thank you. Like, I genuinely appreciate that. And if you enjoyed this, I'll drop in the comments and I'll feel encouraged to make another one. I'm a full-time student and about to get married. I'm a busy guy. I can make time for this if people want it, But if there's not really an audience for it, I'll just say, God, I'll probably start journaling. Or I'll probably start writing devotionals or I'll just do a podcast. Like, but if you guys like this and are blessed by it, I'm so grateful for that. So, I just pray that the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you, be gracious to you. I want to take off my armor for aura. My inventory's a hot mess. I'm thankful for you listening. I'm thankful that you're in this world. You are special because you are born into this world. The God of the universe saw this world in eternity's past, and he deemed this world incomplete without you. So accept Jesus Christ and come home, brother. Come home, sister. You're safe with the Lord, and you are always welcome here. Signing out for now, boys. Ciao.